Extortion rackets have held businesses in Cape Town's central business district to ransom for years. One establishment, after years of refusing to pay up, has now opted to close its doors and fight against the so-called protection mafia. But it's easier said than done, with the roots of this extortion scheme running deep into the city's underworld. Tonight, Michelle Craig joins us from Cape Town's popular party scene, Long Street, to unravel this story. Michelle, is it even possible to refuse to pay these extortion fees and still survive as a business, especially in that very busy street?
Vuyo, very good evening to you and to our Newsfeed PM viewers. Great to be with you this evening on what is an incredibly important story facing businesses, not only in the CBD, mind you, but around the entire city and around the country, Vuyo. You'll hear the music behind me here. I'm standing at the top of Long Street. It's a Wednesday evening. I'm not sure, but it seems to be that this is one of the nights when the music gets turned up and people come out, usually in their numbers. So we're talking extortion, Vuyo, and the impact that it has on businesses and their ability to survive, particularly businesses that refuse to pay these extortion fees. You'll see the beer house behind me, this iconic yellow storefront of the beer house, known by not only locals, but I imagine international visitors, open for some time. And owners of the beer house have for many, many years refused to pay these extortion fees. It culminated in a few years ago, violence coming into the picture, and in fact the doorman of the beer house being stabbed to death. It's something that the owner of the beer house has now been fighting from his position. He's now living in Germany. He's now trying to put the focus and put the spotlight on these extortion rackets and try to get a sense of just how deeply it runs, the gangs involved, and whether indeed it is possible for businesses to survive in this context. So given all of that, we're speaking tonight to the City of Cape Town's Ward Councillor, Ian McMahon. It's great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us here this evening.
Michelle. Thank you.
You know, we're focusing on extortion this evening. The beer house is here behind us in the shot. What's your experience as a ward councillor that deals not only with the central business district, but the surrounding areas as well?
So the beer house is sort of case with extortion is well publicized. It goes back a good number of years and it's been in the media a lot. But extortion is a factor at the moment in the CBD, but there's many, many other factors that one has to bring into it as well, you know. So you can't just, I would say, use extortion as the reason why beer house is closed, you know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You know, our reporter here in Cape Town, Asipi Same, has spent some time trying to crack the extortion story. She's spoken to businesses who fear for their lives, business owners, to the extent that they won't come on camera, even with the promise of anonymity. So are you saying, Ian, that it's something that is beginning to become under control in the CBD? How much of a factor is it?
Well, it's an unknown, for the same reason that people are not willing to come forward or lay a charge or do all of that because they see what results on it. But it is one of the factors where the city look at, but it also is, you know, you have to take it in the context of what it is. My sentiment is that there was much more noise about extortion maybe 4 or 5 years ago when the two sort of sides were at loggerheads.
You're talking about Nafis Modak and Mark Liffman.
The
underworld figures.
Underworld figures, if you want to call it that. So there was a lot of talk about it. So, but you don't. That talk has died down. So you don't hear it as much. When we do these midnight visits to this area, you do see that they do have security and there is a security issue, but you've also got to look at the security in the context of the changes over the last 5 years. You know, we all had COVID. It had huge impacts on the alcohol drinking businesses, on nightclubs that couldn't trade. They didn't get a relief to open at least till 10 o'clock. So they were out of business. The hangover of that was landlords had to do without money, and so they upped their rentals when the leases were renegotiated. There was an influx of homeless people to the CBD looking for to earn a living, aggressive begging comes out. The crime stats of this area have gone up every year. It's in 5 different sectors. So all of these are challenges. But we've also got to look at from a consumer point of view. Food costs have gone up, the cost of alcohol and food. So you've got these operators passing a lot of that onto the consumer.
And the consumer obviously is under enormous pressure already. No one's going to come out for a night out and spend 2,000 Rand.
So you've got all those different factors, as well as your perceived feeling of safety if you come out with someone grabbing your phone because you've had too many drinks and you're looking for your Uber and the phone goes down the road. So all of those play a part, and those are all things we are trying to address, things that we are doing ourselves. 18 months ago, the mayor added another extra 100 law enforcement officers for the CBD. This year, one of our partners, which is the CCID, the Improvement District, have allocated another 5.5 million Rand as an additional security just for the CBD by new officers and another vehicle and all the. So we are looking at ways to make it safer. And it does address some of the factors.
You know, Ian, I'll let you finish in a second. You know, you were saying over the past 5 years, the chatter around extortion has quietened down. I mean, I'm not sure whether that is a sign of whether extortion itself as an issue has gone away. I'd be quite concerned that the chatter has died down.
Well, so I'm saying that we read about it more in the media. And now you're only reading about maybe a court case or something like that. So I'm saying that the chatter we see has died down. Not that it has died down, because, you know, we do see some very large men standing outside the nightclubs. But of course, you know, it's also the security needed for the venues. And so, But there is extortion. It is on the dartboard. We do have our SSIU units looking into all these sort of things. We also get cases of traders and venue owners that take risks. They lock the doors at 2 o'clock and then they trade till 6 with the blinds down and the doors locked. And it's very hard to enforce when you can't get in. Around the corner there's a venue, and I've been there with the liquor police and our law enforcement, and they see us coming on the cameras and they close the door and we can't even go in to give them a fine. So we've got all of these factors that we've got to deal with, as well as the urban factors of making sure that the streets are clean and all of those other things to try and upgrade this space.
Driving down Long Street this evening, one does get a sense that it is, compared to 10 years ago, quite run down. You know, driving further up Long Street, when you reach sort of Cliff Street, that's really where it seems it's a more upmarket crowd. Long Street is very reminiscent and becoming more reminiscent of the Johannesburg CBD, which many people will tell you is a no-go area.
So I wouldn't go that far. This is one section. We know this is the entertainment street, and along with that, we have to do things. If you look behind me, you'll see on some of these lampposts we installed festive lighting for the Christmas time. They're down now for winter, and they'll come back. We installed with other partners 100 half wine barrels, and the city put trees in them. And all we asked was the venue outside to look after them and water them, and half the trees died. So they've been taken away and being painted and repurposed. So we're trying these small efforts, but we're also not getting the buy-in from the local organizations. During COVID, they revived the Long Street Association, which is made up of business owners in there, and that didn't last very long, and this looks like it is another revive of that. So we're trying, but we also have to understand that there's a lot of traders or maybe landlords that aren't interested in what it looks like, as they're just interested in what comes in the bank account at the end of the month.
How much of a factor is drugs in the kinds of challenges you have in an area like Long Street?
Huge. So not only is it the drugs taken inside by party goers, it's also the change of the drug space, if you want to call it that, with the homeless people. So years back, you'd think of, you know, heroin and cocaine, and you know, they would say 300, 400, 500 rand per parcel, and now you get a bag of unga for 20 rand, and that's the injectable heroin-based. And so, you know, when people say, why did he steal my window wiper? Well, you know, that's halfway towards his daily fix. Yeah. And that's why you see these needles, and then with TB HIV Care, who's a partner, they've got needle picking teams, but it's all quite severe.
Yeah. Yeah. The Johannesburg CBD also has pockets where it's sort of trying to change the picture of what the Johannesburg CBD is, trying to invite locals back into the city, making it a place where international visitors can come. Yeah. What's interesting here in Long Street, despite the closing of the beer house and the issue of extortion that surrounds the closing, is that there are still, and we see it in Johannesburg as well, new businesses opening up. Yeah,
so right behind us there's a new business that's opened up. There are businesses that are the Coach and Secrets are reasonably new. Pedro's over there has been here a year or two, but they are heaving. They're busy. I mean, it's economical, and it's a great place for a quick chicken burger for lunch. But so there are businesses, and if you look at the CBD in the whole, I mean, in 2022 we had 4 billion rands worth of development. Behind us over here, there's a new Rawson Properties, which are generally in Sea Point. This is their first CBD, where they've taken a building, they're going to turn it into apartments. And the other side, we've got huge developments coming in. The one up sort of on Buitengracht, where the Fynbos is going to be. So there's a lot of investment into the CBD. There's businesses are open, there's people moving here, the new Puma store down at Long Street, down the other end.
There's a lot of free advertising here tonight, yeah.
I think the notion is that the CBD is a great place, business is thriving, and there's lots happening. We just need to clean up this bit of street.
It's a difficult juggling act in a context where Cape Town itself relies so much on tourism. Yep. Local tourism is a small part of it, but mostly international tourism, right? We make it onto the maps for all kinds of things here in Cape Town. It's something that the city needs a real serious focus on, trying to clean up not only Long Street, but other areas that struggle with gangsterism and drugs.
So during COVID, Council passed a report which was called the CBD Economic Recovery Program. I'll let the ambulance go by. And so that was approved at Council with funding to look at measures to upgrade the CBD. One of the first things the new mayor did when he came into office was create these pedestrian street dining events to try and help bolster. And I've got a meeting next week about another one coming in Bree Street, and we're looking at Harrington Street and other streets around here. We did a few of them here in Long Street as well. Then we've got our Economic Growth Department has got a nighttime economy group, and with Professor Viruli from UCT and CCID, they're doing research on looking at the nighttime economy and looking at what it takes, and looking at first world cities at Amsterdam and New York and London, who all have a nighttime coordinator. Some of them call it a nighttime mayor, whatever.
It's a huge stream of revenue.
Yeah. And so it's looking at all of that to say, right, what are our challenges? Because all of the rest of our thought process is around daytime, whether it's parking management, but none of it's... So there is a study that has been funded to come up with ideas around that, look at first world to say what works there, what doesn't work there, and come up with a plan to actually say, how do we make sure that people can come out to Long Street safely and not have their phone removed, but also not just getting rid of the entertainment street, because people need to be entertained. And of course, it doesn't matter who or where you are. When you go on holiday, you also want to let your hair down a bit. So you've got to make those spaces available too.
Ian McMahon, it's great to talk to you. Ian McMahon is the ward councillor in the city of Cape Town, quite a large area that he's in charge of, not only here in the CBD here in Long Street, but stretching all the way to Salt River and to the other side, closer to the waterfront area as well. Extortion, Vuyo, in Cape Town, and around the country is a major issue. I wonder whether the quieting down of the discussions around extortion is a sign that it's something that the city has a grip on. When we come back, and in the next hour or so, Vuyo, we'll speak to JP Smith here in the city of Cape Town, get his view on extortion rackets in a city that's already plagued with issues of gangsterism and drugs. Vuyo, it's back to you for now.